Hey guys, what's up, Peace Kids? How are you? Hope you're having a good day. I'm back with another lesson this week. This week we're talking about some guys who were in some fire. It's called Daniel's Friends Refused to Bow Down to Idols. Now, if you remember last week's story, we talked about Josiah and how he got rid of all the idols in the land so that they would only worship God and not worship these idols. So let's read about the story and find out why Daniel's friends refused to bow down to the idols and what happened to them and how God saved them. So in this story, there's this guy. His name was King Nebuchadnezzar. So when God's people were forced to live in the foreign land of Babylon, they were often faced with difficult decisions about how to remain pure in their faith while having to live under the non-Jewish rulers. King Nebuchadnezzar built a 90-foot statue of gold. It was dedicated with a lot of fanfare. The people were told that when they heard the horn sound, they were to stop whatever they were doing and bow down to worship the statue. And those who choose not to, well, we're going to find out what happens to them. Go ahead and pause the video on the next slide and answer these questions. Now that we're back, we are going to get right into this story in Daniel and about these friends who did not want to bow down to the idols. So this passage is in Daniel 3, verses 8 through 26. There were three friends that Daniel had, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they refused to do what the king commanded. Here's what they said to the king. The passage says, "If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up." So after they said this, the king was furious. A fiery furnace was ablaze and awaiting some fuel. It was so hot that you could feel the heat from standing far away from it. It was like a huge bonfire that you could feel from miles away. It was so big and so hot. You could hear it. It was like, it was crackling. You know when fire cracks, like it did that, but a lot more than we had ever seen. So the king threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the fire, into this hot, blazing, crackling fire. What happened? Well, everybody looked into the fire, and instead of three guys, they saw four guys. And they knew that they had only thrown three in, so how did there get four guys? Well, God had sent an angel to rescue his servant. The king shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So the three friends came out of the fire. They stepped out and they were not harmed in any way. They were not burned. They had not gotten any injuries from this fire. Here's what it says in verses 27 through 28. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair off their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command, and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God." The people were amazed that these three friends were not harmed at all. They did not smell or anything. And then the king praised them for standing up for their faith in God. And he even gave them a promotion. This is so incredible. So guys, go ahead and pause the next slide and answer these questions. We stand strong for God when we do what God wants us to do, even if it's risky or scary. That's what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did. We also stand strong for God when we keep God first in our lives. Not money, sports, movie stars, or the idols that we may know of, like the internet, games, people on TV, anything like that. Those are idols if we worship them and we highly praise them over God. So we need to stand strong for God. Our key verse this week is 1 Corinthians 16:13. It says, "Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be men of courage, and be strong." Sometimes people make fun of us for what we believe in, and they don't believe it themselves. And they call you names, and they're mean, and what are we going to do? We have to stand strong for God. God will bless us when we stand strong for Him. Maybe not right away, but one day our faith will be rewarded. We don't do it for the reward, but we know that God is watching out for us, and He loves us, and He wants us to do the very best. So guys, this week, remember to stand strong for God. Stand strong in your faith, stand up for your faith, and know that God is number one in your lives and always should be over anything else in the world. It's amazing. Stand up for Him, love Him, and be strong. Love you guys. Have a great week. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you next time.